Since 2006, the Hall of Fame Museum of Firefighting in Phoenix, Arizona, has held an annual remembrance ceremony to pay homage to all the first responders killed on 9/11/2001. For the past 13 years, the Phoenix chapter of the FDNY retirees, along with various area fire and police department personnel, honor guards, pipes and drums, and with the museum's volunteers and staff, have read the 413 names of those who made the ultimate sacrifice that day. This year we are unable to assemble for 9/11's 19th anniversary. However, in continued cooperation with our brothers from the FDNY retirees, the museum staff and volunteers have recorded all of the names and have put this video presentation together to share with all of you and to promise that we will never forget.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hall of Fame in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Chuck Montgomery. I'm a retired deputy fire chief from Glendale, Arizona. Now the director of the Hall of Fame, welcoming you here for us to honor those lost on September 11th, 2001. At 8:45 a.m. on September 11th, 2001, the first of four hijacked planes, American Airlines Flight 11, carrying 92 passengers and crew, slammed into Tower 1, North Tower of the World Trade Center. The Fire Department of New York immediately dispatched a 5-alarm assignment, bringing more than 200 firefighters to the scene. At 9:03 a.m., the second hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 175, carrying 65 passengers and crew, slammed into Tower 2, the South Tower. FDNY dispatched a second 5-alarm assignment, bringing more firefighters to the World Trade Center. Less than an hour later, the tower collapsed. At about 2:15, about 30 minutes after the collapse of Tower 2, Tower 1 collapsed. Because of the size of the disaster, there was no way to know how the incident command team planned to attack the fire. No one expected either tower to collapse so quickly. In the words of the editor of Fire Engineering, but even if such a collapse window could have been predicted, occupants were still evacuating at the time of the collapse. Having been rightly committed to the interior operations, there was no choice but one strategy: get the people out, move to safe locations. That irreversible strategy was carried out with unimpeachable courage, honor, and sheer heroism. It is impossible to know how many occupants within the World Trade Center towers were saved that day by the firefighters. Probably thousands. However, what is certain is that firefighters operating with extreme courage and steadfast sense of duty, despite their difficult conditions, is the hallmark of the fire service. 343 members of the New York City Fire Department died in the line of duty on September 11th at the World Trade Center. Their photographs, together with their names, are displayed on the memorial over my left shoulder. Greater love than this no man hath, that a man lie down his life for his friends. Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13.
On September 10th, 2001, FDNY chaplain and Franciscan priest, Father Michael Judge, attended the rededication of a Bronx firehouse that was the quarters for FDNY Engine 73 and Ladder 42. It was there that he delivered what would come to be known as his last homily. Less than 24 hours later, on September 11th, FDNY chaplain Father Michael Judge would become the first recorded fatality after the attacks at the World Trade Center.
Good morning, everyone. May the grace of God the Father, peace from God the Son, joy and fellowship from the Holy Spirit be with you all. We've come to this house this morning to celebrate renewal, rejuvenation, new life. Come to thank God for the blessings of all the years that the good work has been done here, and especially the last few days. We can never thank God enough for the reality of the lives we have. So standing in His presence this morning, and truly this is a chapel, let us pause for a moment, perhaps close our eyes, and thank God for some special blessing in our individual lives. Let us pray. That's the way it is. Good days, bad days. Up days, down days. Sad days, happy days. But never a boring day on this job. You do what God has called you to do. You show up, you put one foot in front of another, you get on the rig, and you go out, you do the job, which is a mystery and a surprise. You have no idea when you get on that rig, no matter how big the call, no matter how small, you have no idea what God's calling you to. But He needs you. He needs me. He needs all of us. The retirees, He needs your prayers. He needs your stopping by occasionally to give strength and support, to tell the story of the old days. You need the house. And those of you who are working now, keep going. Keep supporting each other. Be kind to each other. Love each other. Work together. And do what you did the other night and the weeks and the months and the years before. And from this house, God's blessings go forth to this community. It's fantastic. What great people. You love the job. We all do. What a blessing that is. A difficult, difficult job. And God calls you to it, and then He gives you a love for it, so that a difficult job will be well done. Isn't He a wonderful God? Isn't He good to you? To each one of you. And to me.
Chief of Department Peter Gansey Jr., First Deputy Fire Commissioner William Feehan, Fire Marshal Ronald Bucher, FDNY Chaplain Father Michael Judge, Assistant Chief Jerry Barbara, Assistant Chief Don Burns, Rescue Company 5 Captain Louis Montefiore, Lieutenant Harvey Harrell, Firefighter Joseph Miscali, Firefighter John Bergen, Firefighter Carl Beanie, Firefighter Mike Fiore, Firefighter Andre Fletcher, Firefighter Douglas Miller, Firefighter Jeffrey Palazzo, Firefighter Nicholas Rusamundo, Firefighter Alan Tarasusiewicz. Captain James Amato, Lieutenant Edward Diatri, Lieutenant Michael Esposito, Lieutenant Michael Fodor, Firefighter Brian Bilcher, Firefighter Gary Box, Firefighter Thomas Butler, Firefighter Peter Carroll, Firefighter Robert Cordice, Firefighter David Fontana, Firefighter Matthew Garvey, Firefighter Stephen Siller, Captain Terrence Hatton, Lieutenant Dennis Mojica, Firefighter Joseph Angelini Sr., Firefighter Joseph Angelini Jr., Firefighter Gary Geidel, Firefighter Joseph Henry, Firefighter Kenneth Marino, Firefighter Michael Montesi, Firefighter Jerry Nevins, Firefighter Pat O'Keefe, Firefighter Brian Sweeney, Firefighter Dave Weiss, Firefighter Bob Crawford.
Lieutenant Carl Bedigian, Firefighter Michael E. Roberts, Firefighter Kenneth Watson, Lieutenant Paul Martini, Firefighter Gregory Buck, Firefighter Christopher Pickford, Firefighter John Schott, Firefighter Terrell Coleman, Firefighter Thomas Kavekis, Firefighter Peter Lagone, Firefighter Patrick Lyons, Firefighter Kevin Pryor, Firefighter Stephen Olson, Firefighter Kevin O'Rourke, Firefighter Michael Otten, Battalion Chief Oriel Palmer, Firefighter Frank Palumbo, Firefighter Paul Panzini, Battalion Chief Lawrence Stack, Captain Timothy Stagpole, Firefighter Jeffrey Stack, Lieutenant Christopher Sullivan, Firefighter Sean Talon.
Firefighter Calixto Anaya Jr. Firefighter Faustino Apostol Jr. Firefighter Luis Arena. Lieutenant Greg Atlas. Firefighter Ruben Correa. Battalion Chief Dennis Devlin. Firefighter Jose Guadalupe. Firefighter Angel Guarbe Jr. Firefighter Carlos Lilo. Lieutenant Charles Margiata. Firefighter Charles Mendez. Firefighter Steve Mercado. Firefighter Manuel Mojica. Battalion Chief John Moran. Lieutenant Kevin Pfeiffer. Firefighter Anthony Rodriguez. Firefighter Gerald Schrang. Firefighter Benjamin Suarez. Firefighter Hector Tirado Jr. Firefighter Peter Vega. Firefighter Sergio Villanueva.
Firefighter Manuel Del Val, Firefighter David DeRubio, Lieutenant Andrew DeSpirito, Firefighter Gerard Duan, Firefighter George DePasquale, Captain Joseph Farrelly, Firefighter Lee Failing, Firefighter Alan Feinberg, Lieutenant John Fisher, Firefighter Thomas Foley, Firefighter Robert Foti, Firefighter Andrew Fredericks, Lieutenant Peter Friend, Firefighter Thomas Gambino Jr., Firefighter Bruce Gary, Firefighter Dennis Germain, Lieutenant Vincent Giamona, Firefighter James Giberson, Firefighter Keith Glasgow, Firefighter James Gray, Battalion Chief Joseph Grizzlack, Lieutenant Jeffrey Guja, Lieutenant Joseph Gullickson, Firefighter David Halderman, Lieutenant Vincent Holleran.
Lieutenant Peter Martin, Firefighter Keith Roy Maynard, Firefighter Brian McCulsey, Firefighter John McCovey, Firefighter Thomas McCann, Lieutenant William McGinn, Battalion Chief William McGovern, Firefighter Robert McMahon, Firefighter Robert McPadden, Firefighter Terrence McShane, Firefighter Timothy McSweeney, Firefighter Raymond Missenheimer, Firefighter Henry Miller Jr., Firefighter Robert Manera, Firefighter Thomas Mignoni, Lieutenant Paul Mitchell, Firefighter Carl Molinara,
Captain Thomas Moody, Firefighter Vincent Morello, Firefighter Christopher Mazzillo, Firefighter Richard Muldowney Jr., Firefighter Michael Mullen, Firefighter John Napolitano, Firefighter Dennis Oberg, Lieutenant Daniel O'Callaghan.
Firefighter Timothy Haskell, Firefighter Michael Hobb, Firefighter John Hefferman, Firefighter Ronnie Henderson, Firefighter William Henry, Lieutenant Anthony Jovic, Firefighter Paul Keating, Lieutenant Ronald Kerwin, Firefighter Michael Kiefer, Firefighter Robert King Jr., Firefighter Scott Kopitko, Firefighter Kenneth Kumpel, Firefighter David LaForge, Firefighter William Lake, Firefighter Robert Lane, Firefighter Scott Larson, Lieutenant Joseph Levy, Firefighter Neil Levy, Firefighter Daniel Libretti, Firefighter Robert Lunang, Firefighter Michael Lynch, Engine 40, Firefighter Michael Lynch, Ladder 4, Firefighter Joseph Maffio, Firefighter Joseph Mahoney, Firefighter John Marshall.
Firefighter Leonard Regaglia, Lieutenant Robert Reagan, Firefighter Christian Regenhard, Firefighter Kevin Riley, Lieutenant Vernon Richard, Firefighter Joseph Ravelli, Firefighter Michael Roberts, Firefighter Matthew Rogan, Firefighter Paul Ruback, Firefighter Stephen Russell, Lieutenant Michael Russo, Battalion Chief Matthew Ryan, Firefighter Christopher Santora, Firefighter John Santor, Firefighter Gregory Sauceda, Battalion Chief Fred Sheffold.
Firefighter Douglas Olschlager, Firefighter Joseph Ogren, Firefighter Samuel Otis, Captain William O'Keefe, Firefighter Eric Olson, Firefighter Jeffrey Olson, Battalion Chief John Paolillo, Firefighter James Papa George, Firefighter Robert Paro, Lieutenant Glenn Perry, Lieutenant Philip Petty, Lieutenant Kenneth Phelan, Firefighter Sean Powell, Firefighter Vincent Princiata, Battalion Chief Richard Prudy, Firefighter Lincoln Quape, Lieutenant Michael Quilty, Firefighter Ricardo Quinn.
Firefighter Thomas Scholes, Firefighter Stanley Smagaglia Jr., Firefighter Leon Smith Jr., Firefighter Robert Spear Jr., Firefighter Joseph Spoor, Firefighter Paul Tagmier, Firefighter John Tipping II, Firefighter Lawrence Velling, Firefighter John Viano II, Firefighter Lawrence Virgilio, Firefighter Robert Wallace, Firefighter Jeffrey Walls, Lieutenant Michael Workola, Firefighter Michael Weinberg, Firefighter Timothy Welty, Firefighter Eugene Whalen.
Lieutenant Raymond Murphy, Firefighter Robert Curatolo, Firefighter Thomas Sabella, Firefighter Thomas Hetzel, Captain Walter Hines, Firefighter Gregory Stajic, Firefighter Dennis McHugh, Firefighter Thomas Casoria, Firefighter Michael L. Ferris, Firefighter Vincent Kane, Firefighter Martin McWilliams, Captain Frederick Ill Jr., Firefighter Dennis Mulligan, Firefighter Richard Allen, Firefighter James Richies, Firefighter Matthew Barnes, Firefighter Michael Brennan, Battalion Chief Edward Garrity, Firefighter Gerald Baptiste, Firefighter John Tierney, Firefighter John Florio, Firefighter Daniel Sir, Firefighter John Chipura, Firefighter Michael Cawley, Lieutenant Charles Gabarini.
Firefighter Gerald Atwood, Firefighter Arthur Barry, Lieutenant Stephen Bates, Firefighter Stephen Belson, Firefighter Paul Bayer, Battalion Chief Dennis Cross, Firefighter Michael Doria, Firefighter Scott Davidson, Firefighter Edward Day, Battalion Chief Thomas DeAngelis, Firefighter Ronnie Geis, Firefighter Paul Gill, Lieutenant John Ginley, Firefighter Jeffrey Giordano, Firefighter John Giordano, Firefighter Thomas Holohan, Firefighter Joseph Hunter, Firefighter William Johnston, Firefighter Andrew Jordan, Firefighter Carl Joseph.
Firefighter Jonathan Ielpi, Battalion Chief Raymond Downey, Battalion Chief John Fanning, Lieutenant John Crishy, Firefighter Dennis Carey, Firefighter Martin DeMeo, Firefighter Thomas Gardner, Firefighter Jonathan Holman, Firefighter Dennis Scorso, Firefighter Kevin Smith, Lieutenant Robert Nagel, Lieutenant Thomas O'Hagan, Firefighter Sean Hanley, Firefighter Thomas Hannafin, Firefighter Dana Hannon, Firefighter Daniel Harlan, Lieutenant Stephen Harrell, Captain Thomas Haskell Jr., Firefighter Michael Ragusa, Firefighter Edward Rawl, Firefighter Adam Rand, Firefighter Donald Regan.
Lieutenant Brian Ahern, Firefighter Peter Bielfeld, Firefighter William Kukowski, Battalion Chief Joseph Marchbanks, Lieutenant Michael Healy, Firefighter Thomas Cullen III, Firefighter Robert Hamilton, Firefighter Michael Lyons, Firefighter Gregory Sikorsky, Firefighter Richard Van Hine, Firefighter Peter Brennan, Firefighter Salvatore Calabro, Captain Frank Callahan, Firefighter Michael Camarada, Firefighter Brian Canizaro, Lieutenant Kevin Donnelly, Firefighter Gerard Duffy, Captain Martin Egan Jr., Firefighter Francis Esposito, Firefighter Robert Evans, Captain Thomas Farino.
Firefighter Thomas W. Kelly, Firefighter Thomas Kennedy, Firefighter William Mahoney, Firefighter Peter Nelson, Firefighter Darrell Pearsall, Captain Patrick Waters, Firefighter Edward White, Firefighter Mark Whitford, Lieutenant Glenn Wilkeson, Battalion Chief John Williamson, Captain Dave Woolley, Firefighter Raymond York.
Captain Patrick Brown, Firefighter Andre Brunn, Captain Vincent Brunton, Captain William Burke Jr., Firefighter John Burnside, Firefighter Patrick Byrne, Firefighter George Kane, Firefighter Michael Carlo, Firefighter Michael Carroll, Firefighter Vernon Cherry, Firefighter Nicholas Chiafalo, Firefighter Michael Clark, Firefighter Stephen Copley.
Firefighter John Collins, Firefighter James Coyle, Lieutenant Kevin Dowdell, Firefighter Terrence Farrell, Captain Brian Hickey, Lieutenant Timothy Higgins, Battalion Chief Charles Casper, Firefighter Richard Kelly Jr., Firefighter Thomas R. Kelly.
Firefighter Joseph Agnello, Firefighter Eric Allen, Firefighter David Arce, Firefighter Carl Asaro, Firefighter Christopher Blackwell, Firefighter Michael Bocchino, Firefighter Frank Bonomo, Firefighter Michael Boyle, Firefighter Kevin Bracken, Captain Daniel Brethel.
FDNY retired firefighters: James Corrigan, Philip Hayes, William Wren. New York Fire Patrol: Keith Roma. Honorary firefighter: Wells Remy Crowther. Volunteer firefighter EMT: Glenn Winnick.
Sergeant John Coughlin, Sergeant Michael Curtin, Sergeant Rodney Gillis, Sergeant Timothy Roy, Detective Claude Richards, Detective Joseph Vigiano, Officer John D. Alara, Officer Vincent Dans, Officer Jerome Dominguez, Officer Stephen Driscoll, Officer Mark Ellis, Officer Robert Fazio.
Officer Ronald Klopfer, Officer Thomas Langone, Officer James Leahy, Officer Brian McDonnell, Officer John Perry, Officer Glenn Pettit, Officer Moira Smith, Officer Ramon Suarez, Officer Paul Talty, Officer Santos Valentin, Officer Walter Weaver.
Port Authority Police, Director Fred Marone, Chief James Remito, Inspector Anthony Infante Jr., Captain Kathy Mazza Deloche, Lieutenant Robert Siri Sr., Sergeant Robert Coffers, Officer Christopher Amoroso, Officer Maurice Barry, Officer Liam Callahan, Officer Clinton Davis Sr., Officer Donald Foreman, Officer Greg Froner, Officer Thomas Gorman, Officer Uhuru Ganja Houston, Officer George Howard, Officer Stephen Husko Jr., Officer Paul Jurgens, Officer Paul Lazinski, Officer David Lamana.
Officer John Lennon, Officer J.D. Levi, Officer James Lynch, Officer Donald McIntyre, Officer Walter McNeil, Officer Joseph Navas, Officer James Nelson, Officer Alphonse Niedermeyer III, Officer James Parham, Officer Dominic Pizzullo, Officer Bruce Reynolds, Officer Antonio Jose Rodriguez, Officer Richard Rodriguez, Officer John Scala, Officer Walwyn Stewart Jr., Officer Kenneth Tehan, Officer Nathaniel Webb, Officer Michael Woolley, K-9 Sirius.
New York State Court Officers. Captain William Thompson. Senior Officer Mitchell Wallace. Senior Officer Thomas E. Jurgens. New York State Police. Retired Investigator Ronald Horner. FBI Special Agent Leonard Hatton. Retired Special Agent John Patrick O'Neill. U.S. Secret Service Master Specialist Craig Miller. New York State Taxation and Finance Officers Assistant Deputy William H. Pullman. Director of Investigations Charles M. Mills. Crime Specialist Clyde Frazier Jr. Revenue Crimes Salvatore Papasso. Revenue Crimes Richard R. Moore. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Refuge Manager Richard Guadagno.
Good morning. It is my honor and privilege to convey the history and the heritage of the fire service bell ceremony. Despite all of our modern advances and the men and the women of today's fire rescue services are confronted with on an ever-changing and increasingly hazardous work environment, the firefighters of today must continually change and adapt strategies and tactics in order to safely and effectively accomplish their duties. The methods may change, but the goals remain the same: save lives and protect property, sometimes at a terribly high cost. Firefighters repeatedly experience these changes throughout their careers. This became quite evident on September 11th, 2001, when our FDNY brothers risked everything to save others and ended up making the ultimate sacrifice. This is what we do. And for those of us that are fortunate enough to be retired, this is what we did. This is our chosen profession, and this is the tradition of the firefighter, and is also the common bond with our brother and sister first responders, whether they be firefighters, EMS, or police officers. Even though the hazards and as a result our training and tactics are in constantly changing state of flux, we are steeped in the heritage and traditions of the fire service that goes back to our beginning. One such tradition is the sounding of the bell. It was the sounding of the bell that started our workday and the start of duty. It was the sounding of the bell that alerted us of alarms and other requests for help. It was the sounding of the bell that also solemnly announced the passing of a fallen brother or sister. The Fire Department of New York bell alarm system started in 1865. When alarms were received by street boxes, similar to the Gamewell alarm box system on display in Gallery 3, the telegraph machines tapped out a sequence that struck the bells in the individual fire stations. This bell signal indicated specific locations based on the number and sequence of the bells being struck. The fire companies then responded to that location to take care of whatever emergency presented itself. The signal 5555 originally directed the companies to lower the national standard to half-mast due to a line of duty death of a firefighter. The FDNY bell alarm system was phased out in the late 1970s, but the signal 5555 has remained as a part of the FDNY lexicon and tradition to announce the passing of a fire department member, whether currently on the job or retired. On September 11, 2001, shortly after 8:46 a.m., an alarm for box 8089 was dispatched for the World Trade Center. In the aftermath of those numerous alarms, the signal 5555 was transmitted 343 times.
Uniformed personnel, please rise. 10 hut. Present arms.
Please strike the signal 5555 in honor, tribute, and remembrance of our fallen brothers who made the ultimate sacrifice 19 years ago today.
The Firefighters Prayer. Whenever I am called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me strength to save a life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace the little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert, to hear the weakest shout, quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to fulfill my calling, to give the best in me, to guard my friend and neighbor, and protect his property. And if according to your will, I must answer death's call, bless with your protecting hand my family, one and all.